And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. This is Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, want to go ahead and check it out. If you're into music at all, Melinda Barkhouse Ross and I talk over the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This was recorded before the announcements were made as far as the inductees, but see who we feel deserves to get in, will get in, and who got snubbed as far as being a nominee for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So here our conversation in all of its glory right there for you around the Pop Culture Cosmos channel on YouTube. Also, as well, it's available on the Lakers Fast Break channel as well. And go ahead and make sure you check it out if you're listening and you want to listen to it. Go ahead and check it out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts just by typing in the Pop Culture Cosmos. Also, want to give some love on this Easter. And by the way, happy Easter to everyone. Before we get in all to misery and the complaining and the we hate JJ stuff and all that stuff, wanted to go ahead and wish you and yours a truly happy Easter. And hopefully it's a safe one, a blessed one, and continued great things heading your way as far as in the coming weeks and months. But yes, on behalf of the Lakers Fast Break, just wanted to go ahead and mention to you guys on a cheerful note, just happy Easter to you all indeed. But I wanted to mention after the Utah game that's going to come up week from now, we're going to be running a little drawing for all subscribers based in the continental United States for the Lakers Fast Break and also followers for the Drip Show. Want to go ahead and give them some love as well. So if you're a follower of the Lakers Fast Break, if you're a subscriber, if you're a subscriber to Lakers Fast Break, make sure you go ahead and be ready. Be ready if you're in the continental United States, because I could pick you as the winner of this young Mamba skate deck right there. Looking good indeed from my man Drip Show. Want to give him some love at Drip Show Shop on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And also big shout out to El Rosto for help setting this contest up for you guys as well. So we'll be giving away one of those bad boys to a subscriber of the Lakers Fast Break, and also as well, just hopefully we'll be able to give that out. And looking forward to doing some good things for you guys who are subscribers in the continental United States. I wish we could do it international, worldwide, but after rethinking about it with FedEx and stuff that's going on all here around the world and whatnot, who knows where that skate deck could land? Might be intended for one of our Australian guys and could end up in, I don't know, somewhere else. So yes, go ahead and make sure you still, if you're in the continental United States, you could win that skate deck on Sunday night. So go ahead and look forward to that. But also wanted to go ahead and mention that John Costa will not be here today, but he sends along his Easter blessings as well. Happy Easter once again. Go ahead and check out what he's doing on a regular basis. I know he had a long form content show on Lakers Corner. He has no 3-minute report, I guess, up tonight because he's spending time with the family on Easter. But go ahead and check out what he's doing at Lakers Corner as well. And of course, speaking of what the Lakers Fast Break is doing, I've got NBA observations. I've got post games because there's still 3 more games left in the week. Got that coming up. So we've got a busy schedule for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break as well. So looking forward to bring it. I'm putting out some stuff, guys, even in the days off. Shorts, clips, doing it all for you guys right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So thank you again for joining us. The Lakers got the bad news over the past couple days that both Austin Reaves and Luka Doncic will be out several weeks with their various injuries. Luka Doncic with his hamstring, Austin Reaves with an oblique injury. Marcus Smart still out with his contusion in his ankle. So things didn't look great, but they were heading to Dallas, a team that's trying to do its best to tank, a team that had lost 14 consecutive games at home. And you figure if anything, would be a little bit better for the Lakers without Austin and Luka in the lineup because of the way they've been criticized for that end of the floor. You figure the defense would at least be just a little bit better without those two in the lineup. Well, they played the game, and Cooper Flag, coming off of his big 51-point game, Followed it up with a good first half himself, a tremendous first half himself, and got the Mavs out big early by over 20 points. The Lakers still with LeBron James out there trying to turn back the clock, trying to look like LeBron James of old. You know, the team trying to put Luke Kennard in more of a playmaker role. And as we saw, it did couple, but unfortunately, it affected his shot quite a bit as he was very off today. One of his worst shooting games, his worst shooting game as a Laker by far. But again, just wanted to go ahead and mention that. Oh, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Truly appreciate the super chat, my friend. Yo, go ahead and check out DBSH's channel, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, right there on YouTube as well. But the Lakers, again, defensively, I just don't know. I just can't explain it because we've all year long we talked about Luka's defense. All year long we talk about Austin's defense. So you figure they would have been able to go ahead and plan something better for the defensive end for the Lakers, but that was not meant to be as the Lakers just could not put consistent stops together. And despite scoring 128 in the absence of Luka and Austin, just could not catch up to Dallas. The closest they got to in the game back after being down by over 20 was 2 points. But the Lakers still ended up losing 134 to 128. They now have a tie in the NBA standings with the Denver Nuggets for third place in the Western Conference. They still own the tiebreaker, but with Oklahoma City this week, with Phoenix and Golden State this week, it proves out to be a busy week, so we'll see what happens. So I know that there's a lot of venom going on in regards to JJ and what's going on. Again, I just think you all guys also have to put in context. I'm not trying to defend JJ because there were some things with JJ today, especially on defense, that I have some serious issues with. The fact that the Lakers just don't have talent showed up again today as far as that back end talent is concerned as well. But again, the Lakers didn't get it done. No excuses. They just didn't play the good enough defense to. They didn't utilize the same things that they did as far as in their good defense against other teams, including Houston, which is I'm going to talk about with my friend Legend here. Of course, it is of course the Lakers fast break. Truly glad to have you here. And of course, it wouldn't be a great show with the Lakers Fast Break without my good friend indeed. It is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Legend, great to have you here. Red JJ is Tibbs. I'm not going to sit here and deny that he doesn't trust his bench. It's a bad bench, guys. First off, it's a really bad bench. But again, does he play his starters too much? Yes, he does. I will stay with that. But again, he traded wins in the regular season for playing time with that starting. So he may have burned out those guys, and we might see that. And we've seen the fallout probably because of it. But Legend, I'm going to bring it to you tonight. Even without the top two scorers for the Lakers in the lineup, top two players, you could argue, in the lineup, not with Luka, but with Austin, the Lakers still could have gone out for a team that has lost against the Dallas Mavericks, who have lost 14 consecutive home games. Despite Cooper Flag trying very hard and doing very well at trying to become the Rookie of the Year, this team never really tonight employed defensive tactics. They always found themselves switching out, and it was either LaRavia or Kennard on an island with Cooper Flag. That is just bad defense. That's just not, for every praiseworthy thing that we say about JJ, about getting to 50 wins 2 years in a row and all that stuff. Tonight is just a sample of, okay, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? You just saw SGA torch Ravia on Thursday. Today you have him out there, but instantly he switches off and putting a worse defender out there. One thing I wanted to ask you, and we talked about this on the Discord, in Houston, their success to winning both games in Houston when things were really good was attributed to their defense and the way they played against one Kevin Durant. They trapped him. They trapped him at half court. They got the ball out of his hands effectively 2 halves in a row. Why didn't they utilize that at all against Cooper Flag, a 19-year-old who want to see if he can actually, be able to play in that way. But I just don't understand, I won't argue with you guys as far as the rotation is concerned and all that, no matter how bad this bench is. Okay, I get it, especially with LeBron doing a lot more work and Kennard doing a lot more work. But why don't you go back to what was successful against a team with one player that was only the player that they needed to worry about in this game?
I'm not for sure why he didn't do that. It was a little odd that he didn't go with the double team, lineup of what you did
A
with
hard
KD.
trap at half
You
court.
know, because obviously that's who was scoring most of their points. They was going to Cooper like majority of the time. But it's also just displayed too just how bad that depth on this team is and why a championship was kind of a long stretch for this current roster. They just don't have enough, and you really needed somebody like Marcus Smart out there. This is when you really miss him very badly. But it's that part is on JJ on that part with the not using the right strategies to try to get the ball out of Cooper's hand and force some of the others to beat you. I mean, the dude had about 40-some points. I mean, he went out here just pretty much cooked their defense. And like you just said, Gerald, you literally just saw SGA have field day with Laravia and all of them. God bless on Tuesday night, boy. That's gonna be ugly.
Again, it's I don't know if it works against OKC because they've got other players to handle the ball or whatnot. But with even Williams, to Brandon Williams to a lesser extent, there are very few players on Dallas's team right now that can do a multitude of things on that roster. So if you minimize or try to minimize what they do on the defensive end, it just makes more sense. But the Lakers, they just went, very little trapping, very little zones. He's a 29% shooter from three. I take my chances every time on that. And they just chose none of it. They just chose their same switching defense that we've seen a lot of times this season, where it ends up with either Kennard or Laravia on an island with Cooper Flag. And that's asking for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's asking a lot. I mean, I know Luke Kennard very well. He can't guard a park car if you had to. I know that from when he was in Atlanta. But yeah, you can't keep switching. You can't let the worst defender get on Cooper and be like, "Don't move out the way. I got what I want. This is an easy layup or whatever." You got to do something on that part, JJ. You gotta do some double. You just got to get the ball out of his hands. You got to be willing to change up your strategy. Cause I mean, Jared, I'm just gonna keep it 100 and be honest with the audience. Look, at this point, it doesn't hurt to double and maybe leave somebody open. I mean, what the worst can happen at this point? I mean, can't get no worse to me. So you might as well try doubling, see if you can get the ball out of his hand and make the others beat you. I mean, if they make the shot, it is what it is. It's better than letting Cooper go out here and make history on what he did today. So I mean, you gotta at least try, because, like I said, what the worst can happen at this point? I feel like things have gotten as bad as it can probably get. I mean, what else can go wrong? You got to try, and unfortunately, he didn't do that. He just didn't double and just kept switching, and they took advantage of it, which they did right. I would do the same thing too if I was them. I'm looking for Laravia and Luka all day. You know, that's on JJ on that part with the defense.
This is a team that should, I believe the graphic that was shown during the game on NBC, they had won 5 times since near the end of January.
Mm.
I think 5 of 24, 5 and 24, they're 5 and 27. I don't remember exactly what, but it's been atrocious for the Dallas Mavericks. And since 14 straight home games they have lost. 14. And with LeBron James trying to turn back the clock, and for all the stuff that we give LeBron too, and there's still a lot of LeBron haters. I've seen them over the weekend. They've made their comments made over the weekend in regard to LeBron, and I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to argue against that. Again, he tried to go ahead and turn back the clock and played his heart out, but
Yeah.
but the major complaint among these guys are, they needed to play LeBron less than 39 minutes. They needed to play Rui Hashimura less than 39 minutes. Jake LaRavia less than 36 minutes. Luke Kennard played 41 minutes. And I agree with them. But we saw, it's a catch-22. The Lakers would not be 50 wins if they didn't rely heavily on their starting unit. Let's just be frank, guys, in
Yeah,
the
that's
chat.
facts.
That you just don't have talent on the
Exactly.
back end of the roster. I mean, we saw Bronny tonight. Brandon Williams. What was your phrase you used earlier with Luke Kennard? Brandon Williams went around
Can't park.
Bronny tonight like
Can't
he
guard
was
a
a
park
parked
car.
car. Yeah. It was sad. It was sad to see. And again, this is the talent the back end of the roster. Those guys along the back end of the roster should be playing for the G League West title right now as we speak. As we
Mm-hmm.
talking about right now. They should be there at South Bay. They shouldn't be playing at the level. But I understand, I get you guys, because the Lakers need to not burn out their roster, not to burn out the top end of the roster. But it's so hard when you're such a top heavy team. What do you choose? Do you choose minutes or do you choose wins? And it's clear with the way he's done his, I'll use the term that they've used constantly throughout this chat, Tom Thibodeau way of thinking, where he's relying heavily on a shortened rotation during the season. He traded wins for minutes. And you could say that it's biting him in the ass now. And I would not argue if that's the case. But again, if the Lakers, if they had traded minutes, they're going to trade wins in retrospect because we would not be at 50 wins. So it's a catch-22 legend. Do you play these guys that are not quality NBA rotation guys at the back end of the roster, or do you play your starters more minutes and get those wins during the regular season? Obviously, it's come back to haunt the
Yeah.
Lakers at this point.
I mean, Gerald, he didn't have a choice. I mean, look how bad that bench is. Look how bad that depth is. That's why, like, I know real Laker fans in life too. I know one who work at my job at my school right now. I feel for her right now. I know she's going through it too. But I told her like the other day at the school during my little hour and 30-minute break. Like hey, what can you do in this situation? You have to run them in the ground. You're not gonna get 50 wins if you don't play them high minutes. You don't have a choice when your depth is that bad. And if you would decide to cut the minutes down, if you'd have did that in March, I guarantee you probably wouldn't have 50 wins right now. You probably wouldn't have it because you'll be putting players playing a lot longer than they probably need to be. That's what happened when you don't have depth. That's the reason why you see a team like Oklahoma. A lot of their starters don't have to play heavy minutes. They can go put a whole nother unit, a whole nother five in, and be just fine. They can get them a good little break. That's what happens when you have a good depth. And Lakers just don't have that right now. So, I mean, did JJ let him led towards these injuries? Probably so. When you ran that many minutes,
Probably. I would say
probably
that
so.
there's a good shot of that, Ledge.
Your body will fall apart when you don't push it beyond its limits. It happens. But what choice did he have though? That's on the front office on that part. When you don't give your guys good depth, your coach don't got much to rely on. And now it looking like the team is headed toward. I hate to say it, but 3 years in a row, first round exit. That would look like we're headed toward. But you know, it just wasn't much you can do. Hopefully this summer they fix that issue. You go get some real depth, and maybe next year you don't have to go through this. But it's kind of hard to put all that on JJ. I look at front office on that part. All he can do is use what he got. That's all he can do.
And again, it's something I'm sure at some point had to ask himself, what do I do? Do I get the wins or do I, you know, incur some more losses by putting in players who are not going to keep me afloat at various times throughout the game? And it's obvious he leaned in on that and everybody was loving it. You win that 9 games in a row. You win what 12 out of 13.
Yep.
The great streak that the month of March, everybody's loving it. But obviously, when they did that, they were possibly putting themselves towards
Separate
further
risks.
harm. Yeah, for those soft tissue injuries that they had, and the oblique injury with Austin, and the hamstring with Luka. Yeah, it's just again, it's what are you trading off, wins or injuries? In this case, you know what? The Lakers probably would be a fifth or 16th place team right now, but they would still have Luka out there and Austin out there. There's a good possibility that they could have them both out there right now.
Yeah, they probably would still be out there if they didn't played so many heavy minutes, and it's a choice that he made, and it came back and it pretty much bit him. And the part that really gets me the most is I just haven't seen an NBA team that just lose so many people like that in one game since 2019 when my Warrior was in that finals, and you just saw KD and Clay both go down and like, well, series over. I haven't seen anything like that since
Yeah.
then. That's the most similar thing to the situation that we just saw with the Lakers.
Still, again, you're missing the point. Again, you don't build a trust in the bench if the players aren't there that can build that trust. If the quality is not there in those players, and there's others like you still that are arguing for that as far as you develop. Well, at the NBA level,
You
you
can't do
develop
enough
them,
developing.
but you're going to lose games in return.
Yep.
So we would not be talking about third place right now in the Western Conference. So
Ask
again,
Oklahoma
still,
about that.
yeah, it's just that simple. You have a trade-off when you just don't have the quality of talent. Nick Smith Jr.'s, the Bronny James, the Drew Timmeys, the Kobe Buffkins, these guys, the Maxi Klebers. Well, Maxi Kleber you had to take in order to get Luka Doncic, so I get that. But those, like earlier this year with Gabe Vincent's, and even to a stretch with Luke Kennard. There's a reason why Luke Kennard, as a 50% career 3-point shooter, has gone to what? This is his seventh team, six or
Yep.
seven team. There's a reason why, guys, that happens. And then with Jake LaRavia, there was a reason why Memphis did not give him his full rookie contract. There are reasons that, and you just have to do the research and understand it. And I understand still trusting in your bench. Well, if that bench is bad and the Lakers are the second worst bench in the entire league productivity wise, it's hard. It's hard. But again, I agree with you still. Maybe give those guys more minutes and just sacrifice some games along with it if it meant the better health of your players overall.
Yeah, that might have just been the best thing to go with and be like, it is what it is. Whatever you place it, you just ride. You just go with the chips and let them fall the way they fall. I mean, it is what it is. It's better to be healthy than not be healthy. I mean, look at the situation we're in. I mean, I don't think nobody would have imagined what a week or so ago when there was so much positivity and all that. And who would have thought a week later this is where you would be at after all that winning in March? This is what it led to. I mean, that's just unfortunate. Unfortunate, that happened. And I'm be honest with you, Jared. I don't think I'd be surprised they bring them back at this point. Honestly, is it worth it?
JJ?
I'll be surprised if they allow Luka and Reaves to come back, based on how
Oh,
things look.
Oh yeah, as far as they're just going to hold them out, that's a very good possibility. I mean, it looks like at this point with a 4-week injury, that's at the very minimum for both. Both were given a timeline of 4 to 6, 4 to 8 weeks, depending on who you hear, who you see. The 4-week timeline would have them, you know, if only the first round series, I think, not even if the first round series goes to 7 games, I don't think that would clear it. So the Lakers would have to get to the second round of the playoffs. And if this the same team that we rolled out there tonight, I don't see that happening, Legend.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I see probably 5 games, maybe 6. If depending on the other team, maybe 6. But it just don't feel good. I mean, how much can LeBron sit here and give you almost 30 points, triple double? I don't think he's gonna be able to do that. He's 41. It's hard to believe he can do that 4 games in a row to get a win. I mean, it's asking a lot of this thing. It's asking a lot of what you got left. And to me, if you got at least one win, I think at least you got one. That's just the positivity of it. But if you're in the fourth bracket, knowing that you got to play Oklahoma next round, I don't know if I really feel even better about that. Knowing I got to play the team that basically blew me out 2 times already. So it's almost like it's kind of a lose-lose situation at this point. But and even if they did come back, I highly doubt they're going to be 100% and probably going to need some gains to fully get back in the reps. And it just I don't know. I don't know. I'll be really shocked if they got that first round.
It's going to be interesting to see, but once again, it is Legend from I Got Next Sports Media, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate you doing so. It is the Lakers, unfortunately, losing 134 to 128. Want to wish you, though, a happy Easter from all of us right here at the LFB. Do want to mention that the Lakers are now tied in the standings with Denver. They do own the tiebreaker, but with 4 games left, I believe, on the schedule, one against your Warriors. Your Steph Curry is back out on the court. Great timing, of course. The
Yeah.
Lakers are coming up. Of course, suddenly feels better. Yeah, so I'm even doing a dunk earlier in the warm up. So yeah, that's great. But with that though, Legend, with 4 games left, do you see the Lakers doing anything at this point in time? I mean, OKC, I think OKC has the West. That game yesterday with Denver and San Antonio was critical, and San Antonio had the lead. They've got nothing to
Yeah.
complain about. They had it, they gave it up, and they lost in overtime. It's all on them. Maybe it started to show some cracks as far as what Denver can do and what San Antonio may not be able to do. And I know a lot of people are going to speculate on that in the coming days, but with the OKC now looking like they have the top of the West wrapped up, I'm hoping that maybe they'll go ahead and take a day off against the Lakers on Tuesday, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I get the feeling that before they get ready to rest, they're gonna want to stick it to you while you're down and be like, we gotta give you one more beat down for the road before we go to postseason. But I know they should get a win against Utah. Utah want to lose on purpose, so that's
Yes.
that's a win
They're
there.
trying hard to. They're doing a
Very
better
very.
job than the Dallas Mavericks right now. Yes.
But Tuesday night OKC, that's probably a loss. My Warriors, I don't know. I kind of want to say I think my Warriors may get that dub on them, but that can go either way.
I know that Stefan says, I mean, we're missing Luka, Marcus, and AR. Yeah. So that's to say
Yeah,
some of their three of our
it's a lot.
top 4 players and 3 top players all season plus minus. You got a triple double and a 23-point game from her seventh and eighth best. Well, again, Stefan, I think you're missing the picture on that because, yes, Luke Kennard got a triple double, but you're asking him to do a lot of things different, Legend, because today the ball handling duties and the duties of running the offense were squarely on the shoulders of Kennard and LeBron. And you got a larger sample size of Kennard, who does well playmaking in limited minutes, but with his defense, as you saw today, and also the fact that when you ask him to do those things, yes, he got a triple double, but he was terrible from the field.
Yeah,
And the one thing that he really does better than most, shooting from long distance, that went by. And you could tell because he's trying to do so many other
yeah.
things that it took away from the one thing that he did best.
Because you got so much energy going into something else now, trying to rebound, trying to assist, you don't lost a lot of energy that you usually would have had to use toward knocking down jump shots. But you don't have that energy no more, so it makes it a lot harder to shoot. With me being a shooter myself in high school, I could easily tell you that hey, when my legs are tired, I'm not going to be able to shoot the long ball that well, and that's what happened to him. He doing so much, he exhausted, but he doesn't have a choice. They need it right now. But now there's a very good chance that his 3-point shooting is gonna dip down because he's having to do so much other stuff now. So I mean that could end up affecting how well he shoot the last 4 games of the season. That could end up coming back to bite at some point.
Stefan's asking me, what do we expect? Well, I expected to win still today.
Yeah, should have still won today.
14 consecutive home losses.
Yeah,
5 and what, 24 since January 24th, or 5 and 27 since January 24th. I'm still expecting a win by the Lakers, whoever they roll out there, over a team that's supposed to be tanking. So I am expecting a win today, or I was thinking it should be a win for the Lakers today. Now, Tuesday, I won't be thinking that, but I'm talking about today when Legend, you're looking like you're still, yes, you don't have your top 2 scorers, or as he said, your top 3 players on the league as far as in your team that have the plus minus on that. I'm still expecting a team like the Lakers to beat a tanking team in the Dallas Mavericks. Legend.
yeah, you still should have been able to squeak the win. You probably ain't gonna blow them out, but just squeak out a win against the tanking Dallas Mavericks, and the fact that you lost to them, I probably wouldn't feel too good about you going Well, I'm skip over OKC because we know how they're gonna be. But I probably wouldn't feel too good about you with my Warriors or Phoenix at that point. I was worried about you. Like you can't beat them. What are you gonna do against those two? The only win I almost see at this point is that Utah game. I have no idea what's gonna happen with the Warriors and Phoenix game. They're looking kind of iffy.
Looking kind of iffy indeed. Tony says, Gerald, we always get opponent's best effort. It's the Lakers. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that one, Tony.
Yeah, I don't know about
It's
that.
kind
It's
of
an
excuse
80.
now.
Yeah, when the Lakers win big over a team, does that mean that they were giving the other team the best effort? But again, it's Tony. You make a good point. I'll give you on that. I'll make a good point. But Stella says it's not worth it. We can't rush Luka and Reaves to play not fully healthy. Lakers need to shut down the season and rebuild, replace Da. Who again, to clarify in the chat, DeAndre Ayton and also so Marcus Smart have opt outs and can be free agents this summer. So and find bench players. I would say still bench players would
Put
be
that S on that one.
yes. And here today to go ahead and discuss today's game, a good man indeed. He did have a experiment the other night, so go ahead and check that out, the Joe Soro experiment. He is a happy man in one way because the Dodgers had a great comeback victory. Congratulations to them. They are, man, if that, I won't have this discussion, Joe, with you on the relief pitching if they if they do what they did today and they could just rinse and repeat because the relief pitching won that game for them today. And that's a great sign indeed. It is Joe Soro from the Joe Soro Experiment. Great to have you here, my friend. Happy Easter to you and your family. Wanted to go ahead and wish everyone that as well. But with the Lakers, again, as I said earlier, and I preface this with legend, I preface this with guys, the one thing you thought you could see would be a little bit better without Luka and Austin in the lineup was defense. But unfortunately today, I don't know what was going through JJ's head, but he never seemed to find a way or didn't seem interested in a way in trying to slow down Cooper Flag at all, constantly leaving Laravia and Luke Kennard on an island. And that island was very rewarding for Cooper Flag on Easter Sunday.
Well, allowing them to go out into a big lead was a bad idea because they had to catch up the entire game. And usually when you have to do that with a less talented team, it takes it's a large tax on those guys that aren't used to playing like that game in, game out. That was probably the most disappointing that they let these guys score as easily as they did because they're not that good on offense. And they needed to win this game to have a shot at keeping the 3. And if we're looking at any kind of hope, sticking with the 3, playing a team like Houston or maybe even Minnesota might have maybe gave us a shot. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it would have maybe given us a shot. But it's likely they're going to probably drop to the 6 because I don't see them winning another game until the last game of the year.
Okay. Not the Phoenix game or the Golden State game?
No, I think Phoenix will beat them. I think Golden State will beat them in San Francisco. And I think they may take Utah if Utah's sort of tanking.
Well, if you saw the lineup that they put out there today, I think you'd understand. Yeah, they're tanking.
Yeah, it's very similar to 2013 in terms of the energy that got zapped out of the team, and that was already going to be a struggle to play San Antonio or the Thunder, even if those guys were healthy. The NBA player has to adjust to what's going on in the NBA right now with people not making it through an 82-game season and the playoffs. I'm not going to buy into the fact that you want to lessen games and do all that stuff. No, if the game is if you're going to preach that the game advanced, then you need to advance with it. And I'm kind of tired of watching stars get injured. If you're LeBron, if you're Steph Curry, that's a different story. These guys have put in the work already, and I get that. But guys in their 20s, guys in their prime should not be getting soft tissue issues where they're out 4 to 6 weeks. That I don't remember hardly any great player in the past having that issue other than a freak situation. I don't remember Dr. J. I don't remember Magic. Magic one time in 89. One time in 89 at the worst time. Never heard Larry Bird. Never heard Michael Jordan. Shaq, who was supposed to be the most lazy guy. I never heard him go out at the end of the year during his prime. Kobe never in his prime. Duncan never in his prime. I know he was hurt in 2000, but that was a knee problem. But to have a soft tissue situation and the fact that you already have enough information that you guys are not getting enough mileage in the year to last because of calf and Achilles issues. The first option in your head is to lessen games, and then of course what's funny about that is Adam Silver actually added more games on top of that. Maybe not for everyone, but oh, you guys are having a problem. Well, let me put this extra game in the middle of the season for this worthless cup,
NBA Cup, yeah.
And then you have the play-in where you have to play an extra 2 games at the least if you're going to try to get from 9 and 10. And that's the other thing too is you're taxing more teams now because they're supposed to be competitive, but it's not working. No one cares about, and that's really where my head has been today in terms of basketball. It wasn't about today's game. I enjoyed I enjoyed the game, actually. I enjoyed how LeBron was playing. I actually thought Kennard played really well. I don't know if he had a triple-double tonight.
He had a triple-double, but he was terrible for shooting-wise, Joe.
Yeah, and I thought they played valiantly. I really did. I actually enjoyed how they were playing, except there was just too many deficiencies on the defensive end. And then, of course, Dallas playing out of their mind because it's the Lakers. That's not something we haven't seen before.
So let me ask you this. And again, our chat is just roasting JJ alive because of the fact that he would not trust more of his roster, which, they're trying to insinuate it could possibly be so. That the injuries might have led up to the fact that this team is very top heavy and starting lineup reliant. Now, if that's the case, again, before I go into any defensive issues with you, which I will later on, let me ask you this, Joe. As far as the way that he had been using and utilizing his roster, a lot of people are complaining about that tonight, and being the root cause of what went wrong with Austin and Luka. Do you share in that notion? Because I say, okay, if you play your roster more with such a deficient roster, you're costing yourself wins, but you might still have them around instead.
No, JJ has been dealing with a lack of depth his almost full 2 years now in this thing, and San Antonio and Oklahoma City happen to be 2 teams that abnormally have a lot of depth due to San Antonio winning the lottery the way not winning the lottery, winning the lottery with Wembanyama, but also having the fortune of getting high picks that they've obviously panned out from. And then Oklahoma City has done well there as well with a huge Herschel Walker-like trade with the LA Clippers that continues to reap benefits. If those 2 teams hadn't been given those opportunities due to luck or due to stupidity, this might have been a more even league right now. But it wasn't. Those 2 teams lucked into and also swindled their way into getting what they've gotten. And the focus right now is not so much this year anymore. Even this year was suspect, and the only reason why there was possibly a chance is because of something like what just happened to the Lakers would happen with somebody else. No one wants at least I don't want to wish any harm on anybody. But it's been a tale of injuries the last 5 years of how teams have been able to ascend the champions. It's helped. It's just these guys are not lasting through through an entire season plus an entire playoff run. I mean, think about it for a second. What was the last really good finals? I'd say probably 2020. And I know that you're probably going, wait a minute, what about 2021? I wasn't really entertained by the Milwaukee Phoenix Suns series.
So you weren't entertained by last year's game that went down to 7 games?
No, because it was good, but that Halliburton getting down really put a damper in it. It was like,
oh yeah, I can understand. But that game,
2019, you're like, Durant came back, and you're like, okay, just let's see what happens, and then he blows a tire, and then on top of that, you had. And again, the series. What I'm saying here is the series was good in terms of the 7-game thing, right? But it's like, imagine this. Imagine it's a close Super Bowl, and Tom Brady gets hurt in the fourth quarter. It's a great Super Bowl, right? Like it's back and forth, and then Tom Brady gets hurt in the fourth quarter, and this is what happens. I mean, I guess I could use, let's say, Ohtani, because that's more of a 7-game series, right? Let's say Ohtani gets hurt in the fourth inning and can't come back, and it's just I don't feel like a lot of these teams are really like battling anymore. It's like, oh damn, now we had this injury, and that's all I think about now. Well, who's going to make it through? It's a gauntlet now. Now it's which one of these basketball players is going to make it, and it just so happened to be the Lakers now, and they were still going to struggle beating the top 2 teams, but now it really like ruins the whole moment. Not just in a Laker thing, obviously. It's now, what does the league have to look forward to now? Are we really gonna? Is the league really, or I should say, the general audience, the kind of the waffling basketball fan, are they going to be excited about Oklahoma City and San Antonio? I don't know, maybe. But that's the part that's depressing, is now Luka's out. Now LeBron is going to be playing the way he's playing, and that's the sad thing here tonight. And you guys have noticed I've done a little bit of a turn with LeBron. Because my friends have been telling me, dude, you're like becoming a LeBron fan now all of a sudden on the show. I said, what happens a lot in my mind is sometimes a certain incident will click, and watching him tonight, I mean, this man is a All NBA player on April 5th. 41 years old. He's playing like a freaking All-NBA player, man. At some point, you're going to have to be like, dude, what is this? This is an amazing player. As much as I've had issues with his personality, who cares? This guy is mastering basketball, and tonight was his part, and I really loved how Kennard was playing, even though his shot was off. He was playing his butt off. Even LaRavia was playing his butt off. Jackson Hayes was playing his butt off. There was a moment there where DeAndre Ayton was like, they were really playing hard. I really enjoyed the game. It just sucked that they went down by 16 so early. I think if they had kept it closer, they might have been able to make it through.
They had it down to 2 at one point.
They did, and that happens so many times where you battle, but then you're like, you get to the bottom of that pit, and you're like, I can't go one more inch, right? And I just at this point, I'm just trying to appreciate something that I think is beyond great in terms of basketball. I really, really like it. Really clicked this last few months with him. It really clicked finally. And I'm embarrassed to kind of to have it click that late. I don't know what it was. Again, maybe it's because he hasn't really been too vocal. Maybe he hasn't been doing any of that kind of stuff. That might have
the noise that we talk about.
Yeah, the noise is gone. I was able to focus on just him playing basketball, and this guy can play another 3 years, man. That's just unreal. I was seeing him back up. Well, I can't remember if it was PJ Washington or Powell. I can't remember who it was, but man, he was backing him up. He was Charles Barkleying him all the way to the rim and boom, layup. I mean, come on, man. 41-year-old doing that to guys in their prime of their life. An NBA
actually outrun a 19-year-old today down the court.
An NBA player in his prime is as thorough an athlete as you'll find in any sport because you're factoring in size and ability. See, soccer players are known as the ones that are the athletes because they're running all day. But what do you do when you have a guy who's 6'6", very and ripped to all shreds and can run like a deer and jump out of the building, and then you have this 41-year-old guy who's been playing for 40 years practically. He's still banging around. He's still telling you what to do. I can't deny it anymore. I think if I did, I'd be a fool. I'd be a complete hypocrite. I'd be a complete phony. And that's really where I'm at right now with this. I'm caught between, man, is there any way LeBron can somehow figure out a way to make his money work so that they can continue to enhance this team? Because are you going to get a better player than him to play with the next guy that's coming? So I'm kind of confused at this point. I don't know what's going to happen next, but appreciate what in the next. What could be probably the next 10 games of one of the greatest athletes sports has ever had. And that's kind of where the button on this is.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, legend from I Got Next Sports Media, and it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Happy Easter to you once again. Lakers lose 134-128. They are tied for third place in the Western Conference. Legend, let me bring you back in. So with the talk of what happens now with LeBron, it's also up to him if he wants to go and move on, and he still feels he can give, like Joe said, another 2-3 years, but maybe at a place with more talent than what the Lakers can provide. That has to be in question as well. But tell me your thoughts when you see LeBron still. I've talked about the stuff that works for him, that works against him, but nobody can deny with all the haters out there. And I've got comments I still have to answer on my Lakers latest page that ripped on LeBron some more earlier today. He's having the greatest season ever for a 41-year-old. It's no doubt at this point. But, there's the $53 million still that it costs the Lakers to have this. It's such there are mixed emotions. There are conflictions about how you treat and how you look at LeBron going forward and whether or not you want him on your team as a Laker fan. I don't know at this point because like Joe says, he would be great to have, but I can't see the Lakers spending $50 million on that again.
I'll definitely say this first. As someone who, I'm not a big LeBron guy, person never will be, but like Joe says, you got to respect what he's done this year. And he did the one thing that I never thought I would think he would do, is he actually took a step back and let Austin and Luka lead the way. That part, I never thought he would do that. I never thought somebody can put that much of that pride and the thought of, I got 4 championships, you got 0. I'm not going to do it. But he did it, and that's a lot of respect I have to give to him on that part. And I get why you guys feel conflicted with it. That's pretty hard to decide on whether or not you should move on or not. He does look like he could play 2, 3, maybe even 4 more years. But I think it is hard. But would I pay LeBron $50 million? I still got to say no, because even though it looks good and all that, I can't deny the age part. And I'm looking at these other guys who are dominating the league right now. They're younger. That look like that's the path to go. So even though he's doing all this, I still think if you really want to get things back, because it's about to be 6 years you haven't won the championship, you really want to get back in that title mix, you got to continue to go toward the younger route. So I think you still, if you can keep him for a cheaper price, but If you can't keep him for a cheaper price, then you probably want to look to move on and just continue to get younger. Because that's what I'm seeing from these other teams. Those are the ones who are winning titles right now. That's what it's going to take. You want to be with them. You're going to have to learn what they're doing, take that direction, and that's probably the path that you're going to have to look at going. So I think he would be a good third option if you can bring him back for a cheaper price. But if I had to pick between him and going to get somebody a little bit younger, doing some things that probably I really need, I'm gonna have to take the younger guy, take my chance on that part, because I'm looking at what's working and what's at this point.
Well, you and I had a conversation on NBA observations, and El Rosto says it's good to hear Braun getting some recognition. He gets recognition from us, El Rosto, always when he warrants it. Absolutely. And he has never not gotten recognition from us when he's warranted. I have thrown out the best 41-year-old season hundreds of times so far this season. But Legend, I want to get it back to you in regards to LeBron. You and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago where the season was really looking bad for your Golden State Warriors, and we talked about the possibility of Steph Curry. Maybe he should leave Golden State. I know perish the thought and all that, but now with the way LeBron's playing and now that Curry's back and whatnot, a lot of people have started some rumors that they might be looking to get LeBron, Kawhi, among others on that team. I mean, how does that strike you, my friend?
No, I don't want to go the old route. I feel like if you go that route, you're just doing the exact same thing that the Clippers did at the beginning of the season. Had all them old guys, a bunch of names on a piece of paper that probably look good on NBA 2K, but in real life, it's not going to work. That's just not the route to go. You got to get younger, get more athletic. That's the best route to go. And shout out to what Tough just said in the chat, too. That's a true thing. You keep LeBron, you keep Bronny. So you got to pick your poison on that part, too. But I'd rather go the younger route. I don't want a bunch of old guys. That's not going to win you a title. You're not going to beat Oklahoma and the Spurs going with a bunch of old guys who are no longer in that level of hype of their prime. That's not going to work. You're going to end up losing more games than what you think. It looks good on paper, but in real life, it's not going to work. It's two different things. You can't live in the past. You got to move to the future.
Is it funny now, Legend, before I get it back to Joe, when it comes to Bronny, that we now could possibly say that Bronny, who we were always told would be able to stay in the league because of his defense, now might be able to only stay in the league because of his offense? Because that seems to be the only thing that's working right now, because he got roasted on the defensive end tonight, Legend.
Yeah, they was having field day with him on defense.
Williams destroyed him.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad. It looked pretty bad, and but I will give him credit. At least his offense has come a long ways from way back in that first summer league. So I give him that much credit. But that defense, though, that was pretty rough to watch.
And Joe, again, you pointed out, when those horrible days would happen, when you would see Bronny coming in the second quarter or a first quarter of a competitive game, and today, offensively, it didn't look terrible. In fact, he got a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer out of it. But defensively, we're seeing that his game is just, the thing that he was supposed to stay in the league for, that we were told time and time again, oh, don't worry about it. His offense will come, but his defense is going to be there. Well, it looks like the offense, even if it does come, that defense is nowhere to be found.
I don't really have anything to say about Bronny James.
Always makes for a good clip when you do.
This discussion between him and I'll get some ribs every now and then from my friends, not literal ribs, like ribbing,
Oh, you just show them a highlights of
Max
Brandon
Christie
Williams
will hit a
tonight.
3 once every 15 years, and all of a sudden he's this amazing 2-guard. I don't even know if he played in the second half, by the way, tonight.
He's just a rotation player.
What
he is.
The interpretation of talent.
8 points for Christie tonight.
The interpretation a lot of times is skewed, even from those close to you who don't get it, because maybe the delivery is a little more aggressive. These guys all are in the NBA. They made it. They're all winners. 100%. I couldn't jump like Bronny James even at his age. So when I said back in the day that I'd be able to get 5 points in the NBA or whatever it was I said, that was more in a figure of speech because
I think you said 5 points in college basketball.
Five. That's what it was. I feel pretty.
You can score more than 5 points a game.
Right now, again, I think in college I feel strongly that if I'm in shape, I'm not going to have the leaps that he has, but maybe I can hit a couple shots. I think I feel pretty comfortable doing that. But anyways, point is, this team is in the position that they're in right now because, and I don't understand this complete and utter nonsense against JJ Redick. I don't know what you guys wanted him to do.
Well, let me just say this. I talked to Legend about this. Remember, Joe, in Houston, they won 2 straight in Houston, and a lot of that is due to their defensive plan that JJ had against a player that is a dominant part of their offense in Kevin Durant. They trapped him at half court, constantly got the ball out of his hands, constantly got him into turnovers, and I think that was a key part of why they won in Houston. For the life of me, Joe, I do not, and I said this all in Discord for the guys today that could hear me. I don't understand why, when you have LaRavia and Kennard playing the majority of minutes on Cooper Flag, you don't go to some sort of 3 to 5 minute deal where you try to take the ball out of his hands at half court.
I thought the traps on Kevin Durant were a brilliant a program.
You couldn't try that against Flag? It would be a perfect.
You could have if you had the right players. Maybe it just didn't work out. I don't know. I don't have an answer, honestly. I really don't have an answer. I think a lot of what's going on right now is everybody is also deflated. It's not just the fan base, and the fan base is looking. See, fan bases and media are always looking for the fault. It's societal's way of coping with their inadequacies, their own inadequacies, and it ventures into other things. I'm not trying to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist here, but when you really stop being all into your own feelings and actually just get yourself out a little bit, when you want to rant like a firecracker, and then once the fuse is done, blown up, whatever, go back to being normal. It doesn't seem like anybody wants to get back to normal here. If you're going to blame JJ Redick for Luka Doncic's injury, then you're really not. I'm not going to really take you really that serious, because this is your number one guy. This is the guy that is supposed to be there game in and game out, and is supposed to do what he has been doing. If he gets injured, then what are you supposed to do? I heard the same stuff, although a different scenario. I heard the same thing with D'Antoni, because Kobe Bryant said, I'm playing 48 minutes until we make it to the playoffs. And everyone's sitting there going, I can't believe D'Antoni let him play 48 minutes. You want to go tell Kobe he's not going to play? Kobe was one of the few guys that could tell Genie what to do. It's just how it was with him. You're not getting him off that court. You want to blame D'Antoni? You blame Kobe for that. And for those of you who don't understand people, you had to have understood that the only ending for Kobe Bryant was going to be tragic. I'm not talking about his life. I'm talking about this game in the NBA. He wasn't going to go out nice. He was going to go out playing his butt off until something broke. I used to say that about Troy Polamalu. I was actually surprised he played 12 years. I said, Polamalu is not going to play a ball for more than maybe 8 years. And really, that's what it ended up being, about 8-9 years. He made it another year maybe. But the last couple of years of his career, his body was spent. His rookie year, he was learning. I don't really consider that his prime A game, right? I go, you have to watch how these guys play and understand that there's a shorter shelf life, or it's going to be a much more tragic end. It's not going to be the LeBron, kind of doing what he's doing. LeBron, I think, in the end, probably has one of the greatest genetics for basketball that you'll ever see. You have guys like Kevin Willis. You have guys like Robert Parrish. You have guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, those guys were all also pretty. I mean, Kareem, LeBron, Karl Malone, they were still really good. Parrish was kind of on the downside. Vince Carter obviously was kind of jumping teams here and there. He was okay. But man, when you're talking about only three that come to mind that were like, you know, all-star Hall of Famers, you know, it's Kareem, Karl, and LeBron. These guys are amazing, especially at the size that they were. I mean, that's even more amazing. But as far as JJ Redick and the Lakers and all this stuff, it's really hard to really explain what needs to happen next, more other than to go with what the obvious answer is. You have to prepare your team now. You have to prepare this team to start battling the San Antonio and the Oklahoma Cities for the next 5 years. And both those teams have depth and they're young. How do you do that? Well, you got to draft well. If you're not going to pick up a superstar, you got to be able to develop. And you know, it's we're not going to probably know for a couple off seasons. I'm still standing on that. I believe 2027, the summer of 2027, when that completes, that's when the Lakers are probably going to be a legitimate title contender, because they'll have had 2 drafts, 2 off seasons where they can acquire talent, however they do it, and then Luka will be 29, and we'll see what happens with Austin Reaves, and let's see what they got. That's just this. It's just there's too much to do, and you can't do all that in 1 month this offseason. It's just not very realistic when you factor in the current collective bargaining agreement. You can't. You're not allowed to do so many things now. So you have to go with those parameters, and it's going to probably take a couple, and maybe they'll get lucky. Maybe they'll get somebody next summer, or maybe they'll get Giannis this summer. I don't know. I really don't know where that's going to go, but I do feel comfortable on who is calling the shots now, because those guys have already built a dynasty, and I'm talking about what could be the greatest baseball dynasty in the next 8 years. Stan Kasten, who's the president of the Dodgers, he was the guy that actually was building the Atlanta Hawks. Legend knows that. He knows who Stan Kasten is. So imagine that. You have all these guys who are very versed in not just baseball, but basketball, and of course how businesses run. And man, you should see what they're doing in Ontario here in Southern California. The minor league team. The stadium looks like a freaking. It looks better than the A's stadium. So it's. I don't.
That's not a high bar.
Well, it's. I mean, you could even say Oakland.
I drove by the mausoleum last year. It's not a high bar. Go ahead, my friend. Sorry.
It's the standard is going to be excellence. You're going to have, there's no salary cap in who they hire to develop, to manage, to coach, to teach. There isn't. So they're going to have all those opportunities, and get ready for when the Lakers start winning again. There's going to be that those anti-Dodger fans that are finding every excuse in the book to not. Oh, these guys are buying things now. So we'll see what they say about the Lakers. Oh, they scammed. There was an inside job to go get Luka. Like, losers talk, loser talk. That's all they know when winners are winning. So, and by the way, thanks for bringing up the Dodgers today. Today's game was hilarious. I was sitting there, and I was like, these guys brought not the B team. It was actually more of like you could say a B minus, maybe even a C plus team. And then all of a sudden, I'm going, okay, I guess you guys are going to keep coming back.
You and I were arguing all last season about. I'm just telling you.
Props to Roberts. Look, I was going to talk to EJ about this tonight when because he's on his little anniversary thing in San Diego right now. But I was going to hit him up. There was 2 moves that Roberts made towards the end of that game, and I'm going, man, Roberts wants the jugular right now. The way he subbed in Will Smith, and then he got walked, and then he subbed in Kyle Tucker, and he ended up getting a productive out for a run or a productive hit, fielder's choice to get the run in. And I was just like, dude, Roberts, where was this like 7 years ago, 5 years ago, right? But it looks like Roberts. It looks like Roberts has really turned the corner. I actually just I was smiling the whole time during that time, like, oh man, he's not. He wants to win this game, and I was really really happy about it. And they ended up winning it. And props to, speaking of the bullpen, by the way, everyone did well. But man, Edwin Diaz, whew,
I'm just telling you,
man,
though. I know you
getting him. Getting Edwin Diaz was like, you guys are really screwed now. He is so damn good. It's not. I mean, I don't even know. He could end up being the greatest Dodger closer ever. I know people are going, what about Gagne? No. Just remember, folks, Gagne was pumping stuff around that time. As exciting as Welcome to the Jungle was, and him saving 80 straight, whatever it was, saves. This is a little different. He's Edwin Diaz is going to be closing for games to win World Series, not getting into the playoffs. So it's a whole different ball game, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. I was Edwin Diaz is as fun of a pitcher to watch as anybody in the league. I really, really, really enjoyed today's game after all that had happened with Roki. Roki is. It's going to be a minute for Roki to get to probably where he needs to go to. It's probably going to take him another year. He needs to get that third pitch. Until he gets that third pitch and he's able to locate a tad bit better, I think it's still going to be a little bit of a development phase.
I guess John Costa, after all, did a 3-minute report after posting on his site that he wasn't going to do, and texting me that he wasn't going to do a 3-minute report. So he did a 3-minute report on Lakers Corner, so go ahead and catch it. But he is spending time with the family, so he's not going to be on tonight. But Legend, I want to close out the show here with both you and Joe's final thoughts. But Legend, before you let everyone out there know what you're doing at I Got Next Sports Media, I'm going to say, let's reach out. Let's make sure we got an NBA observations coming up as well. Stefan Piscano, I sent you an email. Still, I want to do an NBA observations with you this week as well. So I've given you plenty of time to talk about the 65 game rule and all that stuff that you've been talking about on your channel. I would love to have the opportunity to go ahead and do so as well. So the email's been sent. You just got to go ahead and respond, and we can set up a time. And same thing with you, Legend. We'll get something worked out this week as well. But before we head on out, before you tell everybody what you're doing, I Got Next Sports Media, there is the reports, and I did see it on Twitter, guys. I've been saving it for last.
I did too.
With Luka heading to Europe to go ahead and seek treatment. I guess the conversations with the Lakers doctors, and it's not like they don't practice at the UCLA Health Center or UCLA Health Facility, because that's, just not good enough. So seeking some experimental treatment overseas in order to try and speed up the recovery time for Luka. Your thoughts on that, my friend? And again, what you're catching up with I Got Next Sports Media, and who do you have for tomorrow night's game with Michigan and Connecticut?
I'm gonna go with Connecticut for tomorrow's night. I think they pulled that out. I think they're gonna bring a title on back to Connecticut, but wouldn't be surprised if Michigan win. Cause that would be a heck of a story, knowing about the Fab Five and all with Michigan. And the story with Luka, that is interesting to see that came out. And hey, I hope all goes well for him. He can get back a lot quicker than 4 to 8 weeks, something like that, 3 to 6 weeks, something like that.
Maybe he can see his kids overseas while he's there, Legend, because you know how touchy that is right now.
Yeah, I know that's very touchy on that one. And so hopefully he can do that while he's there. But hopefully he can get back a lot sooner. Maybe he can be back in by towards the end of the first round and not somewhere in the middle of the second. So that would be good, good for the Lakers wise. But at the end of the day, I would definitely say take your time. Don't rush it. Don't play around when it comes to hamstrings. They can turn into something much worse. So definitely take his time no matter what. Don't rush. Don't rush. That's one thing I would definitely say. And definitely check me out on my channel. I'm gonna probably talk about what happened with South Carolina and UCLA today. Seeing UCLA win their first national title was a heck of a run for Lauren Betts and that team. And then gonna also talk about the upcoming game tomorrow. Talk about what's going on with the NBA, and probably get my thoughts about that 6-5 game rules as well.
Laker Tom is ecstatic right now with UCLA winning, but the Lakers losing. So good and bad day for him, but their first title ever in the women's championships. Congratulations to them. Please go ahead and support Legend. He supports us as a non-Lakers fan. He comes here all the time and provides his great insight, not only NBA observations, but the Lakers post games. I would ask in return, please go ahead and support him on I Got Next Sports Media in return for all the time that he gives us here. And my friend, again, happy Easter to you and your family. But we always got to hear Joe's last words on the way out. Luka getting experimental treatment, my friend, and your thoughts on tomorrow's national championship game as well.
You know, my family, they're all Michigan fans. And I had two, my cousin got me, he was hounding me about the bracket, this little free bracket that he had. I finally just filled it out just to shut him up. Mike, you know him, Ralph. Mm-hmm. And both brackets, I picked Duke and Michigan to be in the final. And if Boozer had just threw the ball a little higher, we would have had both. I would have had both brackets with the two participants. However, man, I'm going to be cheering for Michigan, man. I will be cheering for Michigan, much like how I was cheering for UCLA today for the girls. I had no idea that was their only title. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, UCLA is the, I guess you could say, the Alabama of college basketball. In terms of its history, yes. Right? I know they haven't been winning a lot lately, but John Wooden is arguably the greatest college basketball coach of all time, and UCLA is regarded as one of the greatest college basketball programs ever. So seeing the girls win their first one, I thought was kind of cool. I didn't know how it was going to play out, and I think it went pretty well for them. They won handedly. But as far as tomorrow's game, my family has been being from Michigan. They've dealt with a lot more heartache. Being a Lions fan, they haven't won a significant championship in football since 1957, when the Super Bowl didn't exist. They still haven't seen a Super Bowl appearance since the Super Bowl started. And then you have the Pistons, who obviously got the first seed today. Congratulations to them. But the Pistons have always been kind of here and there in their lifetime. And then you have the Red Wings, who have been probably the best team in Detroit over the last, let's say, 40 years. And then the Tigers, they've had some moments here and there since 1984, the last time they won a World Series. But overall, it's not there, right? It's not winning championships, at least on the regular here and there. But Michigan, having a Michigan team win a national title and in football and in basketball in a 3-year span, I think is kind of cool. So, but it's UConn. And UConn has a habit of winning these games. So I'm worried.
Well, I did the bracket on the ESPN channel.
I don't have anything against UConn. This is strictly because I want my family to be happy. But UConn is
against Dan Hurley or anything like that.
No. Dan Hurley. If for those of you who don't know the Hurleys, I've known about him and his brother for years. They're nuts, dude. His brother died.
Lakers to get that bigger.
His brother was face down in a freaking creek in water, and he lived. They're too hard-headed to die or be calm. This is who they are, man. I mean, that's what I've always heard, and you've seen kind of how he's been. You've seen how Dan is nuts, the head buddy. He's like Bill Romanowski of coaching. He's nuts, and his brother might be much less in terms of the theatrics, but still they're all nuts. That whole family's nuts. And when you realize, when you've known that for 35 years, you'll kind of expect it at that point.
So it is also Joe Soro. Go ahead and make sure you check him out today at the Joe Soro Experiment. For me, as Legend knows, because he's in my ESPN group, the Lakers Fast Break group for the ESPN Bracket Tournament Challenge, I picked Michigan. So I'm going to pick Michigan again because that's who I have. They look dominant so far. And I'll just say this when it comes to the Lakers in the draft, because the Lakers now could be anywhere in the 20s when it comes to what's going to go on this rest of the season, because of the fact that they could lose some games and could end up being sixth place in the Western Conference when all is said and done. That would put them closer into the lower 20s. There is some Michigan guys available. And I know we've always talked about how Robs loves his guys in the Big Ten and just loves Michigan. It's not going to be the end of the world. I think if I wouldn't be mad if they looked at a Ademara, who looked tremendous yesterday, and Morez Johnson Jr., who looks like a solid player himself. There's going to be a lot of size where the Lakers are picking as far as either 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" power forwards or 7-foot centers that they could choose from to get some real size in there, that if that's what they want, the direction they want to go into. So we'll go more into the draft. I know that Legend, it wants to be a good part as far as, sharing his thoughts on the draft. If you've already heard Caleb Ponce, we've talked about, the top 10 picks already, and he wants to get into it. I'll bring some draft experts on beforehand. So, I'm going to go ahead and put in our 2 cents on that. But again, I wouldn't think it'd be so bad if the Lakers looked at Michigan players at that part of the draft. And I'll just leave it at that. I know that we criticize Rob Pelinka for doing that, but this time it may not be so bad. And I am thinking Michigan is going to win tomorrow over Connecticut. They've looked really good. What's the kid's name? The power forward, Lendenberg. If his ankle is good to go, his knee is good to go, I think Michigan's good to go for a championship as well. But again, I wanted to go ahead. JY said solo ball foot injury will be an issue. Michigan is going to want to speed up the tempo. Yeah, but also remember, Lendenberg hurt his knee and his ankle as well. I think he's playing on some sort of ligament, MCL sprain. He has an MCL sprain he's playing on right now. So they're not at 100% either. So it'll be interesting to see. But again, the great size of Michigan intrigues me and what they can bring to the table for Monday's game. But again, thank you so much again. Matea says, bye to you all. It's 5:30 in the morning here. You need some sleep. Go to sleep, Matea. But no, we just truly appreciate you watching, my friend, and everyone else as well. Again, a truly happy and blessed Easter to my friends, Legend and Joe Soro, and a truly happy and blessed Easter to all of you out there. The Lakers will be back on the court at the Crypt against Oklahoma City. I'll be back with an NBA observations tomorrow. I'll have more, hopefully, with Legend, Stefan Piscano. You guys check it out. I'm putting out clips. I'm putting out shorts of Joe angry at the world. I'm putting out everything out there for you guys. So hopefully you guys will go ahead and like and subscribe when you do. But again, also Lakers latest tomorrow morning as well on Lakers channel. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming up for you. Talking the Lakers and the NBA this week from your friends right here. Wishing you once again a happy Easter from all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Now, Nick T, you're going to hear Nick T for the next few days talk about the fall of Dalton Connect, Joe. Your thoughts?
The only one that screwed Connect.